Volunteers from all over the world, like the ones gathered here behind me, dive into the waters to save the refugees every day. That's right, I had the chance to shadow a rescue volunteer all throughout the night into the next day, waiting for any incoming refugee dinghies coming from Turkey. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men experience sexual violence throughout their college career. And the artists have taken this old-fashioned technique to build their 7-foot structure. Currently in Scalas y Camillas, where refugees first touch these waters from their nearly 6-hour boat ride from Turkey. Recientemente retirada, la estrella del equipo de fútbol femenino de los Estados Unidos, Abby Wambach, visitó el campus de Penn State esta semana. The 708 dancers have to endure a lot throughout this weekend, but the key to success is your sneakers. A new supplemental state budget bill that just became law gives Penn State a 5% funding increase. That's right, Michelle. Penn State Student Programming Association hosted Dr. Mark Lamont Hill on Wednesday. El trato de mujeres ocurre en cada estado en los Estados Unidos, incluso aquí en Pensilvania. Big Ten Network anchor David Revsine will speak at Penn State on April 17th. This is one of the trails here at Shavers Creek where birdwatchers old and new can get a bird's eye view on what it's like to connect with nature. The 2014 MTV Europe Music Awards provided a night full of songs from various artists and featured daring looks from its host, Nicki Minaj. It's the middle of the night on the island of Lesbos, Greece. Konstantin Kadel sits in his white van, looking out to the dark ocean, waiting for any approaching sign of refugees.
Arriving in September, I just came to do anything I could possibly do to help, with no expectations, and to find my role as I went. So.
Konstantin, or Dino as he's known, is an independent rescue volunteer from Boston. He left behind a life of banking and semi-professional football to move here to the seaside town of Mytilene.
The time had come that I was gonna walk away from the finance industry due to the high level of toxicity in the finance industry. It was literally doing nothing for me and just kind of sucking my blood, and then realized I had something more in store.
Once he settled here, he started volunteering with Pikva Refugee Camp, an organization run by volunteers. He first helped with food distribution at the camp and traveled to the nearby town of Moria to lend a hand.
We're distributing clothes, spending the nights in Moria, distributing food, doing our best to just help people who were literally just in the worst suffering that nobody can even begin to imagine. No movie, no book can show the amount of suffering that these individuals were going through.
Dino is the first person to jump in the water and guide the dinghy safely to shore. He helps throughout the night, giving refugees food, warm socks, and blankets as they wait for a bus to take them to camp.
So we're working long shifts on the seashore into the daylight, into the mornings, and into the early afternoons.
Dino works alongside his volunteer partner, Thanasis, who is a native of a small town on the mainland. Their goal is to...
I want to help the people to come out, to feel safe, because they are stressed, they are nervous, they don't know what's happening.
They don't get paid, but they say their hard work is worth it.
We're not doing this for money, we're not doing this for we just do this because we both want to help, and we're here for one thing, for the refugees.
Volunteers from all over the world, like the ones gathered here behind me, dive into the waters to save the refugees every day. But they say that they are not the heroes, that the refugees are the heroes themselves. Dino recalls the earlier days of the crisis.
And one of the most incredible things about it was they were continuously thankful, even after suffering in the mud, while they're getting tear gassed, while they're getting screamed at, while they're getting beaten by police, they're saying thank you.
These volunteers are the first responders of this international crisis, dealing with injured, cold, and scared people. But Dino says that they have to balance their emotions to be effective.
For me, it was the most emotional thing I've ever went through in my entire life, and I learned to acclimate and assimilate as quickly as possible.
Sometimes that's not possible. Hotel owner and rescue volunteer Demetrius Vatis recalled one day in particular.
That we started crying before even going close to them to help them. you cannot help but react in such human way or whatever about the problems that a human person has.
Another volunteer from Germany says these migrants are just like you and me.
They're all humans. You see, they are doctors or they are lawyers. They had a life, they have friends, they take selfies when they get here and to send them to their families, to their friends back home.
Dino says the crisis unfolding here has a lot in common with U.S. tragedies like September 11th and the Boston Marathon bombing.
Just like in the other tragedies in the United States, we're seeing the same thing here. Innocent people are experiencing extreme suffering and extreme tragedy that they don't deserve. That's not something on their own accord.
Dino and the other volunteers allow for these refugees who are experiencing tragedy and pain to just get a moment of relief. Shavers Creek, located in the heart of Pennsylvania, kicks off its migration mornings this month. Every Wednesday morning, people can gather to appreciate Central PA's spring birds. Shavers Creek Program Director Doug Wenzel says,
if the morning moves you to come out and go on a bird walk with us from 7 to 8:30 in the spring.
Get an early start to your day and check out numerous bird species that will migrate through Pennsylvania this spring. A few of the birds that can be seen on the walks include woodpeckers, eagles, and hawks. Even for the most experienced of bird watchers, every spring provides a great opportunity to rediscover how amazing Pennsylvania's birds are. It's a challenge to become a good birder, but is also very rewarding. One of Shavers Creek's bird-watching tour guides says that in May,
just the forest is going to be alive with all these different songs and kind of learning those and sorting through. It's like another language in some ways. So.
This is one of the trails here at Shavers Creek where bird watchers old and new can get a bird's eye view on what it's like to connect with nature. Julia Plummer, an avid birder and attendee of the bird walk since 2012, says the walk gives you a chance to be outdoors.
Birding gets you out in nature. You're getting to see the change of the season, the birds migrate.
Migration morning bird walks are open to birders of all experience levels. In State College, I'm Laura Barbosa for the Center County Report.